Today we'll be talking about medieval weaponry and armor. We'll start by talking about weapons used in close quarters. One type of close quarter weapon is swords. The swords can be single or double bladed, which means either one side or both sides can be sharp and cut. They can have a straight blade or a curved blade. There are different types of swords, including arming swords, broadswords, falchions, and long swords. This sword would be closer to either an arming sword or a broadsword. The swords have two parts: the blade and the hilt, which you grab. The edges are used for striking and cutting, and the point is used for thrusting. Next, we'll be talking about the blunt weapons, which include maces, flails, warhammers, and morning stars. A mace is a weapon with a heavy head at the end of a handle. Morning stars are pretty much the same as maces, but with spikes. Maces are around 2 to 3 feet long and are used to damage well-armored knights that couldn't be pierced with swords. Warhammers were used in close combat and could damage without piercing armor. They were strong enough to even cause concussions through even the thickest of helmets. Next are the polearms. These are close combat weapons where the main part is attached to the end of a long wooden shaft. These originally came from hunting and farming tools.
Up next, we're going to be talking about the siege engines, which were the powerful and heavy artillery of the Middle Ages. The ballista was one of the earliest forms of siege weapons and the smallest and most maneuverable. It was also fast in speed. The purpose of the ballista was to launch stones at enemies. Another siege weapon was called the catapult. This had a single throwing arm, and when the arm was pulled back and released, it would launch a boulder right into the enemy. The catapult also hammered away at stone walls of medieval fortifications. The latest siege weapon evolved from a catapult is called the trebuchet. The trebuchet launches large and deadly loads to their target, and it can also destroy the thickest of castles with repeated assault. And it started as a staff sling and evolved eventually into the trebuchet. Some of the other weapons they used were throwing axes, crossbows, and hand cannons. A hand cannon was one of the earlier forms of firearm, and it may also be considered as a handgun.
Chainmail is armor that has small rings linked together to form a mesh-type material to protect the torso in war. Knight's armor was used to protect the knights from any new or lethal weapons. Horsehead armor was armor that is used to protect the horses during the battle. And chouses are armor that can protect you from the knee up or cover the whole leg. A gauntlet is armor that is used to protect the forearm and hands from any cuts or bruises from the war or battles. And a baboot is a visorless war helmet with a distinctive V or Y shape. The Spangle helm and nasal helmet was a helmet to protect the nose and eye area. A gray helm was armor that was used to protect the whole face from deadly weapons or bruises from battle.